Why, hello. And is my microphone... Oh, my microphone's working. For some reason, I can't hear myself, though. So, it makes me think my microphone isn't working. That's strange. Huh. Well, let me just click this button here and see if I'm... Yeah, that's weird. I'm glad you can hear me. I can't hear myself. Which is usually, actually, that's quite alright. I don't really want to hear myself, but usually I can hear myself. And I have to turn the volume down and all that. Who knows? I got coffee tonight. I microwaved it and it's hot. Too hot, actually, to be frank. Welcome to the stream, everybody. For those of you who were around last night, I've implemented the things. Taking stuff out of my pockets. I don't like having stuff in my pockets. Hi, Broken Glass Design. Welcome to the stream. Fair enough. The stuff we were talking about last night with Jason Storey was neat, and I've implemented such things that he was talking about. And so let me just start out for any of you who were here yesterday or saw the stream after. What we were discussing was ways of getting, you know, the game modules are, I'm going to use them in Legend of the Stones, but they're also on the Asset Store. I want other people to use them, and I want other people to use them easily, but also flexibly, meaning you can add your own stuff to it. For the loot box, it creates loot for you, and it's automatic. It's great because here in the project itself, when you set them up, we'll look at level 1 chest, you can click this button and just see all this cool stuff. So you can see what it produces for you, or what it might produce for you just by testing the generation here and changing the settings, and then testing, changing the settings, testing, and so on. That's cool. But two things. One, what do you do with the loot afterwards? This, you know, well, here's a preview. Handle loot. What do you do with the loot afterwards? And the reality is, LootBox itself doesn't handle the loot. This is a scriptable object. It holds data. Now, we have game LootBox right here, and this, however, can technically handle stuff, but it doesn't, because I don't know what you're going to do with it. Essentially, the big stuff is right here. If we're gonna auto-generate on Awake, then we're going to generate the loot and handle the loot. That's all it does. Generate the loot, handle the loot. Handle loot is empty here. This is something that you have to override. So for this, I've created game LootBox demo, which inherits from game LootBox and has something in the handle loot. So now we're overriding the handle loot, and technically that means that no matter what inventory system you're doing, because I'm sure a lot of you, if you use this system in your game, won't be using my inventory system. My inventory system is very specific to this graphical drag and drop style, and there's a lot of inventory systems out there, different styles and stuff, and so this will allow you to write your own code on basically what to do with the items once it's been created. The other thing, though, and this is something that you know, I want for Legend of the Stones, I have this concept of luck, where luck affects different things in the game. It affects things in various ways. One of those ways is that if you're lucky, you're more likely to get cool items and to get powerful items. And so what we were discussing last night is the best way to handle that as well. So game LootBox now has this interface down here. Now I removed this overrider. We're not going to use that. I'm actually going to delete it now. I simplified what we were discussing a little bit here. And we now have a interface that has I handle loot boxes, and it does 3 things. We have generate items, spawn chance, and generate attributes. These are the important things. The items that we create, the chance that something gets created in the first place, and then the attributes that get put on it. Now, if you do nothing, when generate loot is called, then we will, we check to see if we're overwriting. If we've already generated stuff and we're not overwriting, then we'll return and it won't replace the stuff that's already been generated. Otherwise, we're going to, and by the way, and this is an interesting thing, because while that, on the surface, like, oh, well, that makes sense because you won't want to regenerate stuff that's already been generated. But let's say you have a spell in your game that lets you close a box, cast the spell, reopen it, and see what's inside. You could technically, regenerate the loot every time you cast that spell. Just an idea. Stuff. Anyways, that's going down a different path. But then we're going to create the item object list. We're going to assign that to generate loot, and we're going to try passing a custom loot box handler, and then we're going to say that we've generated it. That's all it is. And we're going to clone the result because we don't want to copy the result from the loot box itself, because that's a scriptable object. So we want to clone it. Custom loot box handler. What the heck is that? So on Awake, we're going to try and get component I handle loot boxes. That's optional. You don't need to have an I handle loot boxes, but you can if you want. And if you do, this won't be null, and it will pass in here. If it is null, it will pass in. And what does generate loot do? It says if the handler, which is what we're passing is not null, then we're going to use the handler's generate item method. Otherwise, we're going to use the generate items method that's on the loot box here itself. And if we use the handler generate item method, and we can see that here with this class I created, generate item modification demo. Generate items here, and then we go into the spawn chances and the generate attributes as well. And the way you create this class, a mono behavior, implementing I handle loot boxes, and then you assign that to your object with the loot box. So in this demo, we have 2 objects that have loot boxes. We have the small box button, and this one just has the game loot box demo. And we have the lucky treasure box. And the lucky one has generate item modification demo script on it, which has, for the demo purposes, a luck value. Fancy that. Right now it's set to 50%. So there's a 50% chance that they'll be lucky. You can get fancier with the math if you really want to. I know Legend of the Stones will, but for this purpose, we're going to keep it simple. So when this is called, the only changes I made from the vanilla algorithm and code that's from LootBox, I copied it over. And I added this right here. Whoops. So before it was just random float. And this is basically a random float between 0 and 1. And we can see that that's in my utilities right here. It's just going to return a random float between 0 and 1. But instead of that, we're going to say if the player is lucky, and we can look at that real quick. Very simple as well. Again, random float is less than the luck value, then we're lucky. If it's over the luck value, we're not lucky. That's all it is, true or false. Very simple. So if the player is lucky, then we're going to get the random float best of, where higher is better is false. And that is another fairly simple little thing. We've got parameters for higher is better set to true, rolls 2, so 2 rolls by default. Again, minimum of 0, maximum of 1. And we're going to start by getting a value between 0 and 1. Or min and max, really, but for this purpose, 0 and 1. And then for each roll above that 1 roll, so we're going to start this at 1 because we already rolled once. We're going to roll another one, get a new value, same thing. And then if that new value is higher than the current value and higher is better, or if the new value is lower than the current value and higher is not better, then value will be equal to new value. That's going to go through one for each roll, and that's going to return the value. So essentially, what we're doing here is saying, if you're lucky, you get 2 rolls, and you get the better value of the 2. So it doesn't mean you're definitely going to get, you know, the object spawned. It just means that you're more likely to get the object spawned. And I took it one step further. So that this basically says if the roll is higher than the spawn chance, then we're not going to spawn. So this is the whole stop or continue bit. But if we are going to spawn, then we do the generate item, and then we have to add the attributes. So on generate attributes, I did the exact same thing. If player is lucky, get the random float best of. Otherwise, just a random float. 2 rolls for 1, essentially. And if the player's lucky here, there's a greater chance that they're going to get an attribute added. Otherwise, if they don't, stop and continue, just like the item. So in practice, now when we press play here, we can see I put some debug logs for the player being lucky. Ignore all that stuff. And we can see now that the player was lucky about half the time, which makes sense because it is 50% value. So these are the calls for the various items, and you can see the items now here. You can see the small box right there. And then if we change the player, make him really unlucky, only 10% lucky, we'll see how lucky this player is now. Player got barely lucky. Look at that. Only 3 times. And then, of course, if you make them 100% lucky, then we're going to see a whole lot of green. There you go. So that's a demonstration of basically how you can use the loot box system and the stuff we discussed last night with Jason Storey. And Jason Storey, thank you very much for your... This is the wrong window. Thank you very much for your tips, as always. But this is a way to basically customize your own algorithm for picking the items. Also, your own algorithm or method for what to do with the stuff after they're generated. Without having to touch this. And the reason why that's important is that in general, I might update this over time. And if you were to modify this code, this script itself, and then I updated it, and you update the package, it might destroy some of your code. That actually happened to me with Legend of the Stones, which is why I wanted to go back. And one of the things I wanted to do was make sure that I expose the customization I want to expose in a way that didn't require myself or anyone else to overwrite code. I'm going to drink some coffee. Is my background music going? The relaxing background music? A reroll spell. Yeah, that would be a neat spell. You could also do a, like if you ever did a rewind, I guess a rewind could also undo what the chest being populated. But anyways, lots of opportunities, lots of options with different spells and potentials. So this is great. I'm very happy with this. And this concept, I think I might need to go back and have a think through the rest of the stuff and see if I can utilize this pattern in other places, which I think maybe the inventory class itself, actually, the inventory system could take that. Now, the next thing is I need to figure out why it doesn't actually work. I mean, it works. All of what we just talked about works, but the problem is when I open the boxes, there's just nothing there. And we know that there is stuff in the list, but there's nothing there. And so I haven't actually looked at the handle code itself. I decided instead to practice Age of Empires 4, which, by the way, Age of Empires 4, I like it, but I want to build big castles. And when I play with an AI team member, they never build castles, so they keep laying all the bad guys into my base. And so all my guys who are protected behind this castle wall get destroyed by people who are just walking around it through another entry because my teammate didn't block their base. Anyways, so handle loot. Let's check out what this does. All right, handle loot. Box manager. This is the inventory module now with the box manager. Inventory module box manager demo script. That's a mouthful. Equals get component box manager. Okay. Do we have a box manager on this? We do. It's right there. Game items object list delete list equals new game items object item object list. So any of my scripts with the word game in front of it implies that it's a runtime version of something that is otherwise a scriptable object or not runtime version. So game LootBox is the runtime version of LootBox, which is a scriptable object. So game item object list delete list equals a new list for each game item object in item object list dot lists. Now this is game LootBox, so this is going to be the actual generated stuff that we got right here. So there's all the generated stuff in the LootBox. For each one, we're going to add it to the list. Otherwise, we're going to add it to the delete list. So as you saw, or as you might already know if you've been following for a while, the inventory has a set amount of space. So if we can't fit what we've generated into that space, we're going to have to delete it. So I'm going to put a debug here saying could not fit item dot oops, I should do it like this. Item dot object name into the box or inventory box. And then we're going to add a delete list, and then for each one, skinny this up. For each one, we're just going to remove that. Yep. This is my like 6th or 7th cup of coffee today. I guess I need to sleep more because I guess I'm tired. All right, so this should be working. This is why I'm walking through it, because as far as I can tell, it should be working, but clearly it's not. So I'm just gonna check to see if everything's being deleted. Handle loot. Nothing got deleted apparently. Let me just make sure then that stuff is. I probably should have done that earlier, but handle loot for each one. So let's go into this add to list. Ah, well this explains a lot, doesn't it? Commented out code. So there must have been a reason I was commenting out this code. Let's see. Ah, I know the reason. Because I changed the item system, so item is no longer a thing. It's going to be let's say object, and let me use this method of putting these variables in here, and we're going to say item object, or say item for now because I'm going to change it, but item dot human name, and then change this to item object, keep it consistent. You'll grow out of it, huh? I don't know, Jason. I don't know. That's one theory I don't think I want to test. The problem is, though, that my body has gotten used to just waking up at like 7:30 or 8. It doesn't matter. Weekends, daylight savings time, so you get an extra hour of sleep. Yeah, right. I still woke up at 6:30 instead of 7:30. That's it. And I can't go back to sleep anymore. I used to be able to. I like just 5 years ago, I would go to bed at 2 a.m., wake up at 11, 10, 9. I don't care. Just whatever. Not anymore. That's changed. That has changed. I suppose if I quit my job and went back to my old lifestyle of just working until I decide to go to sleep and then not having to wake up, that might change things. But item list. So item list must be, yeah, item list is no longer that. So now item list is going to be game item object list. I believe I'm replacing that, but let's see. Clone the item and update the item variable. Item inventory.add. Clone of that. Item inventory. Okay. That's like the... I've got the Super Bowl song in my head for some reason. That's weird. Human name. Does human name make sense to y'all? When I say human name, that's the name with all the attribute names attached to it. Well, don't need to redo anymore. And then this one needs to be done as well. I commented that weeks ago because I wasn't ready to update it. Item object, keep consistent. Item list is now inventory items. Clearly, I've learned a thing since the last time I wrote those debug logs. Alright, that looks like it's all good. Any other random commented out list? I don't know if that to-do is accurate anymore. It's probably been there for a while. Okay, now let's see what happens. See if that solves all the world's problems. Friendly name. Previously I was calling it full name, which I thought made sense too. Alright, so we got stuff, but hey, look. It's trying to fit stuff in the inventory, and then it says some stuff can't fit. That's good. Now what's this mean, though? Oh, interesting. Interesting. I wonder why we couldn't delete it. Probably can do this a different way. Let's see. Item object list dot delete. Probably just build in a delete item, and we'll call an item. And if we pass that in, we can just create a method here that says list dot delete or remove all x dot item object equals item, and make this item object. X equals, yeah. There we go. So that should work. I'm gonna delete that. That's true. That could be confusing to some people who are like, what if about the elf name? I could change it to full name again. I think full name is pretty specific, right? Friendly name makes sense, but that's similar to, in my mind, to human name, like human friendly. Human friendly name is the long version of that. All right, let's see. Does it work? Look at that. It worked. These red ones are okay. All of those red ones are okay. I'm leaving these debugs in there, Jason, because I want people to see that this stuff is happening. But I actually might redo this whole system. Uh-oh. It's not quite right. Please look at that. The shadows are in the wrong spot, and look at that. I can create a mouth thin air. Magic. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. So I got some issue going on. I'm sure I can solve that. But hey. Hey, that's improvement. More coffee. Alright, let's change it. Made the decision. human name is now going to be full name. Where is human name? Where did I find it? Human, nope. Where was it? Box manager? Okay. Full name. Done. That was it. That's... yeah, okay. So let's figure out why the heck... Why the heck was having issues. One thing I want to check is to make sure I have the settings right in the various items. I think the items are here. So just want to see to make sure that the dictionaries, which contain the size of them, is correct. It looks about right. 3, 4 for those. This one's gonna be 3, 6. Boots should be 2, 2. Yeah. All right. So this looks about right. I want to pay attention to the inventory spots. This worries me. It tells me that I was updating the scriptable object in my code rather than the item objects in the scene itself. These should always be 0. So I'm guessing that's exactly what happened, is that somehow my code was referencing the wrong thing here. So just gonna reset these real quick, or real slowly. We'll see. All right. So let me see where the code goes wrong. So box manager. All right. Let's see. Handle loot. Well, first I'm going to test something. I want to see if these change. They do. Okay. So certainly the issue happens before other stuff. Now let me just see if this changes again. It should, numbers should change again because they're going to be, yeah, put somewhere else. All right. So rather than trying to figure out exactly where it is, I'm going to comment out this part and just make sure that it is in fact this part that's doing it. I'm pretty sure it is. No, actually, Jason, I actually cut that part out. I simplified a little bit. I kept the override for the handle loot part, and for the others, I just didn't do the override at all. I'll quickly show you in a second. All right, numbers aren't changing, so indeed that's it. So, Jason, for your benefit, what I ended up doing, let me show it on this. So we have, one has game loot box demo, the other has game loot box demo and generate item modifications demo. Put this back there. And this is itself the inherits from game loot box, which is the vanilla version. Game loot box doesn't have anything in the handle loot. It doesn't do anything for handle loot because, of course, I don't know how people are going to handle the loot, and I'm not going to make that decision for them. And so in the demo scene, we're going to handle it by bringing it into the inventory module. That's how a player or a user would do that. And then the generate items modification, this will implement I handle loot boxes, which is what we did last night, of course. I removed the override one, but now it just has these the three important bits: generating items, generating attributes, and the spawn chance. Those are the things I think people would want to modify. And in the code here, at awake, it checks to see if there's an I handle loot box attached. This right here. And if there is, then it basically passes the that handler in, and then this is the same code as last night. If the handler is there, then we use the handler. Otherwise, we don't. So I figure there's no reason to override. My thinking was that anyone who's going to go through the process of creating their own custom code, because most people I think wouldn't necessarily, but anyone who's going to go through that process is better off just copying the code and then writing their own modifications. I add this part for players lucky. So I didn't figure it out. I bypassed it. Alright, so we know now that where is it? Oh, here it is. That this is what's causing the problem. And it's going to be, what's item? Item object. So item object list must be, that's weird. It should be a clone. So let's see. To generate loot, yeah, it should be a clone of the loot box rather than the loot box itself. Let's see, is clone working? Yeah. That seems like it should work. Alright, I'm gonna just test something. Test it live. We're gonna see. Where's my demo ones? There, I'm using these ones. So armor, chain armor, 02. And then in here we have our treasure box. Let's see what kind of things we have. Chain armor, dictionary, key values, inventory spots. I'm going to just change this to 5 and 5, and we'll see. It didn't get updated. Let's see here. Oh, panel, no. Oh, wrong button. This one. So we don't have a chain armor here. We only have the one there. Huh. Interesting. I was expecting to find that I could modify those values. Alright, well let me just step through the code then, I guess. Assuming that this is not the issue. I'll step through the code. Add loot box items to list. We are passing individual item object, which is one of the item object list. Now this is a clone. Item object list is a clone, so it should be brand new object, but we'll find out. Alright. And let me see, did the chain right here, item object can fit in this inventory at 02, which is the numbers we saw. Oops. So that's this, and that's... Okay. Item object, item object, item object. Another clone. Interesting. I don't need to make... I do need to make a clone. Right? I think so. Alright, so first we're trying to see if we can fit. That wouldn't change anything. I don't think. That's fine. So this is the part where we add a clone of the item object to inventory items. I think wouldn't just .last work here? Item, whoops. Item object equals inventory items dot list dot last. Right, that should get the last item in the list. I suppose I could also do var new item object equals item object.clone, and then add new item object and spell it right. Do that too. And then I don't have to do either of those. So that's probably a little easier. And look, we're adding it twice. So that's an issue, right? And I'm doing that twice. So that's weird. Alright, well, let's see if that magically fixed things. Magically delicious. Ooh, it didn't change, so that's something. Alright, let's just open a box and see. Well, the shadows are all in the wrong spot, so yeah, it didn't actually fix it. That's too bad. Alright. I'm just going to press play and see if these numbers change. Okay, they do. They do. That's too bad. Now I'm cloning it twice from the scriptable object. So this clone is basically saying from JSON, well, it's actually first saying to JSON this, and then from JSON that. Which my understanding is that should create a brand new item that is no longer linked to the scriptable object. Perhaps I'm wrong. I don't think so, though. I've been using this frequently. Weird. Well, I'm going to do one more check here and just say, just comment out those and see if that is what's technically doing this, just to make sure. It could be something else. I'm looking to see those numbers change. They don't appear to be changing. Yeah, so my guess is then that indeed this is where it gets set. Let's see. New item object. Oh, that's why. This is why. I should have read this earlier. The item object with the uppercase is a reference to the scriptable object. So that was the issue. So I'm just going to go on a limb here and say, oh, it's still not working. Well, why the heck not? Could be a different issue now. Or the same issue in a different place. I gotta redo here. All right. Let me see. Did I set up available items? Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Add item to the grid. Game item object. What do we call this? Item object. In-game object. Jason, I like sticking my hands into the guts of another object. That's what all the violent video games have taught me. And Indiana Jones, to be fair. Item object dictionary. Okay. Guess I should search for just to make sure this is not being done elsewhere. Oh, look at that. Oh, I was like, didn't I just fix that? But that was up here. They just happen to look very similar. Why? Add set of available items. Well, I do need to refactor this. All right, so what not what dictionary? I was going to call you dictionary. What Jason Storey is suggesting when he says what you hit there is another firm reminder, not just a reminder, but a firm reminder of why, one, not just me, but everybody should not be accessing the internals of another object. And that is because it would have been better for me to have said last item added dot do this thing, which in this case would be last item added dot set value int etc etc etc. Now I don't think that actually would have solved my problem. I think the problem this moves it one step further, and I mean I could put that here and just say set value int for the object, and I could say set value int and pass in last item added and pass in inventory spot y and pass in spot y and do that. The magic strings. It is true that everything in the dictionary is magic strings, but that is because they are fully customizable. And then I could pass this here. Key value item object. Could do that. But that wouldn't have solved my problem necessarily, because I think the issue happened when I was refactoring, and I just didn't notice that I had the other item object in there. I did half the refactoring before the item object stuff was even done refactoring itself, and then I commented out the code and said I'll do it later and all that. That's what happened there. But this is one way of doing it here. So we can set the value int like that. We do the same then to this one. Inventory spot. And that means that now there's only one place where that could go wrong. I could move a set value int into the item object itself, but I'm not going to do that. Because then I would have to do that for all of the different dictionary types, because somebody else using this might want that, and I just don't want to go down that rabbit hole, because every time then I add a new dictionary type, I'd have to go and find out every use of the dictionary type where I did that and update that, and I don't want to do that. But this does make it a little bit better, I suppose, because now there's only one place where this actually gets called and therefore changed. And since I did have it in two spots where I fixed one spot and not the other, that is an indication that this would have been a better thing to do from the beginning. And I suppose this as well, I can I could say add item to spots inventory grid, pass in spots, and we'll pass in last item added and spot Y, spot X. Because I do call this twice. Call this spots. Item object, and then it's also, I guess, easier to read set value, add new item object. All right. Okay. Before I start deleting things, let me just test this, see if that fixed my issues. Last item add set inventory spot X, Y. Is that better? Let me look. Except that these are two separate key values in the dictionary. So then I would have to... this would end up being a very specific method just to account for these, but currently this accounts for any time I want to set the integer of any dictionary key attached to a game object or item object. So I think it's better this way. Let's see if it worked. Still off. Why? Why is it still off? You'd think, I would think at least, that fixing these problems and suddenly I'd be like, oh, they're solved. But it didn't work that way. All right. Let me just search for for this in various places. Tonight's a night of random songs in my head. I don't know why. Alright. Box manager set up available items happens where we get clicked. It's one of my favorite things to do, Nick. I love using debug log. But in this case, I think I need to remind myself first why I have a set of available items while also having an add LootBox item to the list. I think I have to have this because it can be used at runtime to add a LootBox item to the list. Well, this is Box Manager. Box Manager is, let's see. So when I add an item, I have to do this. I'm duplicating code here, and that's not a good thing. Don't want to duplicate code. In a way, what this is really doing is adding LootBox item to the list for each one. Just checking to see if it can fit. But if we're setting up the available items, i.e. they were not recently added, that means that they were already there and they already have spots. Like if you saved the data, it's definitely not a stupid question, but I'm on a different tangent right now. I think I'm just trying to figure out in my head why it's been a while, but why I did this and this instead of doing just one of the two. Try to see, is there a difference between here? Can fit, can't fit. Can fit, can't fit. That's weird. I reversed those. There's a subscriber alert? I missed it because I can't hear anything today. Well, whoever subscribed, thank you for subscribing. For some reason, I can't hear myself today, and I really don't know why. Where's my Bluetooth? I'm connected and all that, but... I think this must have been an old thing before the loot box, because the original inventory was very hard coded. There was no loot box, and I added a loot box later. So I think populate items list. Oh, look at that. Yeah. This is I don't even... Let me make sure I'm actually even calling that. I might not even be calling it. Button got clicked. Alright, I did do call button got clicked. Box button got clicked. Okay. I don't need to do this or this. Do need to make sure spots are set for whatever reason they didn't get set up. Don't need to populate the list items. Don't need to do that. Okay. Jason's making jokes. That Jason, on your YouTube channel, that should be a new series of shorts. Jason Makes Jokes, where you make jokes about coding. Like, how many Python devs does it take to screw in a light bulb? Alright, now we're just going to check to see if what the data shows us. Alright, so Helmet of Ultimate Power is at 1-1. Is it? Let's find out. Helmet of Ultimate Power. Helmet of Ultimate Power. Must be in small. There it is. It's in 1, 2. So it says it can fit in 1-1, but then it's in 1-2. So let's go here. Let's look at helmet here. Aha! Seems like it didn't get set. Inventory spot Y, inventory spot X. Uh-huh. Ooh, that's funny. I like that. I did not. Oh, I should have pressed clear. Yeah, the Jasons helped me a lot too. The Jasons. Alright. Helmet into 4. Let's find out. This is a flaming helmet. This flaming helmet, is this also? They both have a flaming helmet. Alright, I think it's this one though. 0, 0, 0, 0. Doesn't appear that it's being set. Oh, you know what? What if the dictionary is not getting cloned properly? So the item is being cloned, but its dictionary is still referring back to that. Ah ha ha ha. Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Indeed, indeed. So when we clone the game item object, we also need to clone its dictionary. So var cloned item object equals the clone, and then cloned item object dictionary equals cloned item object dictionary dot clone itself. I put that method on everything, and then return cloned item object. That would explain why things don't appear to be wrong, but yet they are. Let's find out. Nope. Damn it. Damn it. Every time I make one of these changes, I think, this is it. This is where it's just gonna magically work. But then it doesn't. I mean, at least things are dropping in the right spot once I pick them up. So that part's cool, but I mean, clearly that's off to the side. That's not supposed to be there. I see. I see. That's funny. I wouldn't have gotten it though until you explained it. All right, so I think that was a good fix, by the way. That cloning the dictionary thing, that was a good thing. But all right, let's continue down this quest. We have a ultimate helmet of ultimate power. Again, just want to confirm we are looking at the second one. So there's a regular. Oh, this time we're in the first one. Okay, so should be on 2.7. It's not on 2. And it's not on 7. All right, but let's check. This. Element 2. Element 7. Nothing. Nothing. There should be something in the top one. Okay. So we got long spear. Nothing. Wow, that's not right. Well, clearly only one got put in there. And it's just a long spear by itself. So that must be this one, but the rest didn't seem to get put in. Alright, let's see. Let me try it slightly differently. Just go back to this. Don't see why that would change things, but you never know. Will be at that. All right, let's see these things. Helmet. 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 Which helmet is getting set to 4.6? Because it's not these helmets. Helmet here. It's also not 4, 6. It's still 0, 0. Weird. Okay, so this gets populated when I open the box. I thought it should be populated when I add items, though. Inventory items to add. Clone of the item. Add item spot to inventory grid. No. Unfortunately, I don't think I can, if I'm understanding you correctly. Alright, these seem to be going down properly. Powerful helmet of darkness. Sounds cool. No, they're just. I mean, it's clear that it's not saying this dictionaries. Strange, strange, strange. All right, I'm gonna go back to the beginning. Back to the beginning. I'm going to go even one step further. Test. It's going to be a string. And it's going to be empty. Where's my demo? I wonder if this is the root of the cause. I'm not cloning the list here. Or the items. Do I do it here? I do. Okay, so after I do the clone, get last, I'm going to do this here. All right. Last item added, dictionary dot set string, set value string, test to be this is a test. And let's see what happens. Hopefully this won't show this is a test. Well, that's good. Oh, we got a null reference. Could not find a key value for test. That's interesting. We should all have... Oh. Well, that's different. Oh, I only did it for... that's right. I need to do it for all of these. For a second I thought I had another bug, which it's good that I don't. It's just I separate these into different types. So they all have different things. Alright. Now let's see. That's not my bug. Alright. Helmet. Okay. Oh, value int. That actually looks like it got set. This did not get set. Large shield. Ah, damn. That's why it was already set. Darn, I got excited. Alright. Let's see, large shield 04. Alright, chain armor 410. It's the last item. Wait a minute. Those are different things. These are not the same item. This happens on line 80. This happens on line 87. Box manager of box manager. What happens between 80 and 87? A whole lot of nothing, but somehow Maybe last isn't working on the same frame. Let's find out. This turned into a debug episode. Chain. Okay, yep. So this is not. That's what's going on here. Somehow the item that we're adding is not. I mean, that one is chain armor, long spear, long spear, long spear, long spear. Wait a minute, chain, a long spear. Yeah, so somehow these ones appear to be doing it right, but then all of a sudden chain armor goes to long spear. Let me just make sure that we're okay. So that's different. Okay, we're gonna do debug.lob. Just gonna try this. Just gotta say we're gonna say color. Oops, color equals RGB starting add loot box item to list for item object full name. Color, and then I'm going to do the same at the end, ending kind of purplish color, pinkish color, just to make sure that we're actually in the same section here. I bet once I figure it out, it's going to be like the most obvious thing in the world. Flaming helmet of ultimate power. Flaming helmet of ultimate power. Flaming helmet. Large shield, large shield, large shield. Mage staff of ice. Mage staff of ice. Short sword of light. Yep. Small shield. Yep. Ending small shield. Leather armor can't fit. Okay. What about this group? Helmet of ultimate power. Yep. Helmet of ultimate power. Large shield, large shield, large shield. Powerful small axe of fire. Magic mage staff. I don't know what kind of staff would it be for a mage if it wasn't magical, but whatever. How come? Aha, here we go. Oh no, small axe. How come suddenly we're not seeing that problem? And how come it's suddenly working? What? Wait a minute. It can't be working now because I didn't get the payoff of knowing why it was broken. God damn it. Well, apparently it's working now. And I don't know why. I suppose the last change I did was this. Changing this from .last to this. My only thinking was that it needed an extra frame for .last to actually work. Yep. Nick's paying attention. Thank you, Nick. Heisenberg. Heisenbug. Whoops, wrong button. Well, I guess I can do that. You know the Mac and PC can probably do this too. I gotta learn it, but it can zoom in like that. Alright. And Heisenbug is like the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, there you go. So I don't, since our debugs don't alter the stuff as far as I know. My guess is then the issue was this last. Now, rewind the tape, because I added that when I first got this. I was like, oh, I can do this now. Ha 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 ha. All right, let me remove my debugs. Gosh darn it. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Glad I fixed the bug. But I really wanted that payoff saying I did this and then saw it work. But that's okay. Corey, did you just call yourself and others cabbages? All you cabbages. Oh no, I wanted to keep that one. Alright, did I remove them all? You're all helpful. I know that many of you are likely doing other things. And I have to say, I could not work on my own stuff while listening to someone like me talk. Nope, could not do it. I mean, I can barely work on my own stuff while talking. But, okay. Let me just make sure it works. Hey, oinkers. Oh, motherfucker. What? What? Hey, all you oinkers out there. Why does it work in the small box? Oh, that's okay. But not the big box. My only thinking now... Actually, I'm not sure what my thinking is. I was thinking earlier today, I was wondering if Fiverr or something like that has people who do theme songs, like short jingles. Because I would love a Magic Pig Games jingle. So that every time I started the stream, it started with a 10-second jingle. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yep, it would. That's the answer. It's the correct answer. Alright, so it kind of works. It works in the small box. 3 for 3. Which I'm saying means it works in the small box. It doesn't work in the big box. What happens if... remove this. Does it still work in the big box? Or does it still not work in the big box? Correct, it does not work. Okay. So it had nothing to do, as far as I can tell, with the modification script. Huh. Interesting. I guess I have instantiate. Okay. Well. Did it work in both boxes before? Or was that just not noticing? Let's search for .last. Okay, using it here too. That could be it. Okay. Let's see. Nope. Didn't work. Okay. I mean, most of them worked. Before, it was like... Is it always magic staff? Always in the same spot? Right about there? No. It's not. Alright. Okay. Must be stressed out. When I get stressed out, my body gets like itchy, and now I'm getting hives from stress, probably. Luckily, this stuff is my... I'm just gonna call you piggies. Hello, piggies. Piggies is the best one. You're my magical piggies. Magic piggies. Here, piggy piggies. See? That just rolls off the tongue. Set up available items isn't even being called anymore, actually. So it can't be that. Ooh, t-shirts. T-shirts. That's something. All right. The big thing that's confusing me now is that the small box... Oh, okay. Small box does not always work. It just was working for some reason. Now it's not again. Okay. Now, I don't think my debugs were causing it to work. Alright, let me just walk through here. We'll see. With a fine-tooth comb. Alright, we're setting up the spots. If we've already done it when we returned. Otherwise, we're going to clear it. Add a bunch of inventory rows and spots. And then say we're set up for true. Okay. That is fine. Can fit item random spot. I'm gonna try 10 times to fit it. Inventory height, inventory width, item object. Spots are empty. Oh, I never actually figured out where this test thing went. Interesting. In the cloning process, it removed the attributes. And here, it just changed the object entirely. Okay, so this is that issue we saw earlier. Between 81 and 86, it changes from small axe to a mage staff. And also, flaming mage staff turns into a mage staff. Okay. So. Inventory items. Add. Clone. This could be the issue.